Good morning, everybody. I'm Gbemisola by name. Thank everybody for joining us this morning for today's edition of As a Paediatrician live program. Plead with us to family and friends to join us on the show today. And today, we'll be speaking on the topic epilepsy. We'll have our CEO, Dr. Gbemisola Boyede in the house today's live. Please, let's invite our friends and family to join us on the show. And don't forget to drop your questions.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Welcome to ACP Live. I don't know what happened to Gbemisola. She seems to have disappeared. I'm Dr. Gbemisola Boyede. I'm a pediatrician, neurodevelopmental pediatrician, and also the founder of CEO of Ask the Paediatrician Foundation. It's my pleasure to be here this morning, and we're going to be talking about epilepsy and convulsion. This is also one of those topics that tends to generate lots and lots of comments. Welcome back, Gbemisola. Okay, so if you have questions, kindly post it as comments, and then we will feature it, and then we will answer your questions. So please feel free to post your questions, and then we will start to address them as soon as we can. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Vera, good morning. We can see you. All right, so let's go on. Okay, so I'm going to start by giving an overview of what is epilepsy and what is convulsion. And I think it's very important that we'll define them clearly, because sometimes parents get upset a lot by certain words like epilepsy, and sometimes people don't understand the difference, and so there are lots of confusion around that topic. So let's start by talking about the father. What is convulsion? What is a seizure? What is epilepsy? So let's start with the convulsion, because it's the easiest one people tend to understand. So convulsion is like an involuntary response from a child as a result of an abnormal discharge from the brain that manifests as either jerking or stiffening or combination of the two. So anytime you see a child who is jerking or who is going stiff, or who goes stiff and then begin to jerk and all that, then we're talking about convulsion. Now, all this convulsion is happening because there's the brain, because everything we do has to do with our brain. So it is your brain that gives you that. Before I move my hand, my brain tells my hand to move. Before I talk, my brain is the one that moves the muscles of my mouth to talk. Now, so when there is epilepsy, when there is convulsion, it is the body is moving involuntarily. You are not aware. And that's because there's something discharging in the brain. And it's that abnormal discharge in the brain that is causing the body to make movements, that can be continuous for a while, and it can be inappropriate. Now, when we talk about seizure is any kind of response due to those abnormal discharge. So sometimes it is not just the movements of the hands or the body or anything. Sometimes it could just be the fact that the child is just staring blankly, or that the child just drop and collapse. Sometimes some children is just the flicking of the eyes, or the eyes is rolling up. So those ones so seizures could involve so many things. Sometimes it could even just be behavior, the behavior changes and all. So all those are captured under seizure. So all there is abnormal discharge in the brain that manifests, whether it manifests as a movement, a muscular kind of thing, which is we call convulsion, or maybe change in behavior, changing steering and all those things. That is what we call a seizure. Now, what is epilepsy? So epilepsy is when you have a seizure reoccurring, a seizure or a convulsion that is not due to fever, and it is happening over, like you have many times. It has happened. So it has happened yesterday, it happened 3 days ago, it happened for 1 month ago. So if you have more than 2 or 3 episodes of such, then you say that person has either a seizure disorder or what we call epilepsy. People usually don't like the word epilepsy, but it is just, that is what we mean. So I hope somehow we've been able to understand the distinction. As time goes on, I'll still be explaining it again and again so until people get it. So let's move on. I think we have our first question, Malara. Can you read our first question? Are you with me, Malara? Okay, I think maybe there's a break. Okay, so I'll read it. So Mary John is saying, what makes a child suddenly start convulsing in the middle of the night? So taking your question, I will just go into what are the causes of convulsion from there.
Hello, ma.
So that's where you'll be able to understand what's, because I think it's a very important thing, because it's difficult to answer your question because there are many things that will cause convulsion. So it is just not one thing that causes convulsion. So there are many things that can cause convulsion. So let's start. Number one, the commonest cause of convulsion, and based on even these causes of convulsion, we can divide it into 2 types of convulsion. So we have what we call febrile convulsions. So febrile convulsions is convulsion due to fever. So, and it's common in children between the ages of 6 months to 6 years. So when children who are 6 months to 6 years old have fever, usually very high fever, and then they begin to convulse, we call that febrile convulsion. And it tends to run in certain family. And so you see that some children tend to have that, and they can have it every time they have fever, even sometimes when their fever is not so high. And eventually, by the time they're about 6 years, they will stop having it. And that is what we call febrile convulsion. Now, there are other causes of convulsion that are not due to fever. In other words, the child convulsed and there is no fever. And that's what we call afebrile convulsions or afebrile seizures. Those are convulsions that are not due to fever. Now, what are the things that will cause the convulsion in this without fever? Now, one of the commonest reasons is the fact that we don't know. That's the honest truth. We don't know the cause of most of those fever. We call it there's a name we used to call it. In other words, there's nothing causing it. There's no cause, idiopathic. We don't know what is causing it. So that is what we call afebrile seizures. But there are also other things that will cause it. Like if there's any problem in the brain, for example, a child who, when they were born, they didn't cry as well. For example, that is afebrile. They can have convulsion because there's already a damage in the brain, from either the child not crying at birth, or some babies, the brain is not properly formed when they were born. The brain there's some malformation of that brain when the child was born. That will also cause those children to have convulsion. Or some children have injuries, and maybe they fell, head injury, and that caused some problem in the brain as well. They too could also have convulsion. Or sometimes when the blood sugar is low, what we call hypoglycemia, it could also cause problem with the brain. Sometimes the electrolytes, the sodium, the potassium, those things that we have in our body, when they are low in the blood, or they are too much in the blood, like the sodium, they can also cause convulsion. So there are so many causes of convulsion in children. And so it is so for Mary that is asking me what is the cause of convulsion in this child. So I can't tell you what is the cause of convulsion in that particular child until I see you, until I ask you several questions. Was the child having fever before the child started convulsing, or the child was not having fever? That is the first thing. And so when we first break down into two, then we now, if the child was not having fever, then there are like another 1,001 questions again that will help us to know what is specifically causing the convulsion. Sometimes we don't even know. Sometimes we need to do blood tests. Sometimes we need to do brain scan. Sometimes we need to do EEG. Those are the things that will help us to know the cause of the convulsion. And sometimes we do all those tests and there is still no cause. And so the focus is to stop the convulsion. And because when a child is convulsing, oxygen is not getting to the brain. And that is what we really need to address, because that will cause more problem. And we don't want convulsion to be going on for too long. So let's move on. Malara, can you read the next?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, ma. The next question. Mary John, what suddenly side comfort night?
I think
in the midnight.
I've handled that.
Okay.
Can you see the next one? By Oluwaseun.
No, ma.
Okay, I think there's some gap between when I post and when you say. Okay, Oluwaseun will say, is it possible for an epilepsy patient not to bring out anything in the acts? So I understand what Oluwaseun is saying, because for us in Africa, we have this belief that when people have epilepsy, then they will fall on the ground and they will start foaming from the mouth. And people have this belief that that foaming is contagious, or some of them think, oh, they are going to bring out lizard or something like that. No, all those ones are like myths and all that. Number one, let me start by saying epilepsy is not contagious. Epilepsy, seizures, convulsion is not contagious. So the fact that you have a child who have epilepsy does not mean the other child will have it, or that you, the parent coming here, the child will have it. And or marrying somebody who have epilepsy does not mean you're going to have epilepsy or your children will have epilepsy. So it is not contagious. In other words, you don't just, it is not like an infection that maybe you have somebody who has measles now, you stay with that person and you have measles. No, epilepsy is not contagious, and the foaming from the mouth is not contagious. So don't be scared of people who have epilepsy. Number two, while I'm still on the issue of myths, it's also not spiritual. People always say, oh, epilepsy is a spiritual attack, these people, that kind of a thing. No, it is not a spiritual attack. It is just a problem, a medical problem in the brain this time around. Just the same way we have medical problem, like some people have problem with their pancreas, they have diabetes. Some people have problem with their blood pressure, they have hypertension. People who have epilepsy have issues in the brain that is making the brain to discharge abnormally, and that is what is causing the seizures or the convulsion, which, if it is recurrent, we now say is what? Epilepsy. And now it can be treated, and they can we have medications that we can use to treat epilepsies, and we will get to that later on.
Abigail, please, I joined a little late. My question is, can a child have convulsion without having a high temperature or fever?
So Kashi Center is asking first that can hotness of the body lead to convulsion? So yes, that is what I said. In fact, there are two categories of convulsion: the one due to fever and the one not due to fever. So fever or hotness of the body can cause convulsion, and that is what we call febrile convulsion. The good news with febrile convulsion is that it will stop usually by the time the children are about 6 years old. Usually it starts when they're about 6 months old, and then it will stop by the time they're about 6 years old. That is the one for the the fever, convulsion due to fever. Now there are convulsions not due to fever. Sometimes those one may continue for a very long time. So, but we will address that later. All right, let's move on. I think
Oluwaseun updated.
Yeah. Okay. So you are seeing it now. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Yes. is it possible for an epilepsy to bring out any of the mouth during the act?
Okay, I think I've answered that already. There's no update in that question. I've answered that already. Okay, let's move on to the next question.
Abigail Tosin. My question is, can a child have convulsion with temperature or fever?
Yes, so I've just answered that again, but just to stress it again, a child can have fever and have convulsion, and a child can have convulsions without fever. So people that have convulsion with fever, we call it febrile convulsions, and that one is not epilepsy. We don't call that epilepsy. But people who have fever, who have convulsion without fever, or what we call afebrile seizures or afebrile convulsions, those are the ones that if it is happening over and over again, we can call it we call it afebrile seizures, and then we call it seizure disorder, or we call it epilepsy. I hope that is clear. Abigail to say, I hope I've been able to answer your question. All right, let's move on to the next question. Okay, so somebody is saying, what are the... Okay, go ahead.
Cause brain damage.
Okay, so Abigail Tosin's question is still ongoing. So she said, what are the key symptoms of convulsion? So convulsion itself is the symptom. It's the convulsion that is the symptom. I don't know, maybe I'm asking what you meant. So a child who is convulsing is checking. They jerk like that, and they will check for it can vary from 1 second. Some children have what we call status epilepticus. What it means that they can convulse for more than, we used to say 30 minutes before, but now we say more than 5 minutes, and they can convulse. They will go unconscious. They will not be aware of what is happening around them. They can fall down easily, and then, so that is the things you will see for you to know a child is convulsing. So you see a child who is shaking, or who is stiffening their body, or who is stiffening and shaking at the same time, and they are not aware. They are not doing it deliberately. It is not deliberate. It is involuntary, and that is convulsion. And if you try to stop it, that is the way you know that it is not just something the child has control over. So you can't tell a child who is convulsing, stop that now, and the child will stop. No. In fact, if you are able to stop something like that, then it is not a seizure. So a seizure or a convulsion is involuntary. You can't stop it. So even if you hold the child's hand, even if you grab the child with your body, the child will still keep on checking until that episode terminates. So that is how you know it's a convulsion. So I don't know whether that's what you really meant. Most times the children are not aware. Sometimes after the episode, they can have several episodes. Sometimes they can pass urine afterwards. Sometimes some of them may foam from the mouth. Some of them may poo on their body after the episode. Usually most of them will sleep after it before the next episode. So when you see that, that is convulsion. Convulsion itself is a symptom, is the manifestation, is the sign. But what is causing it may be different. So it could be due to fever. It may not be due to fever. If this is without fever, then it could be due to so many other things like we have already alluded to before. Let's move on.
I hope Abigail Favor is taking notes.
Okay.
Is asking cause brain damage.
Yeah, so that's a very good question, Ebere. So, Favor, convulsion can cause brain damage, especially if it is a prolonged convulsion. So it's a kind of an egg and chicken kind of question. So a child may convulse because there's already a brain damage. So a child who has hypoxia or asphyxia, a child who didn't cry at birth, or a child who has meningitis or encephalitis infection in the brain, a child who has brain head injury, who fell, maybe bled in the brain, preterm babies who bled in their brain because their brain is so fragile, or people that their brain were not properly formed. Those are the things that will actually make the children to convulse in the first instance. But sometimes some children start convulsing, maybe because of fever, or they start convulsing because there's low blood sugar, their blood sugar is low, hypoglycemia. But if that convert for those children, there's nothing wrong with their brain. So there was something external happening, like the low blood sugar, low oxygen, and things like that. But if that conversion now go on for so long, then it will now lead to permanent brain damage, because during that episode of conversion, those children are not enough oxygen. The brain is using a lot of oxygen, but it's not getting enough of it, because when you are doing a lot of conversion, the brain is actually discharging and overworking, but at the same time, the brain is not getting oxygen into the, so if that prolonged, that's why we worry about what we call status epilepticus. If that prolonged for too long, then that can cause brain damage. Yes.
Brain damage. Thank you, ma.
Yeah.
Next question.
Can you say the next one? Abigail Tosin.
No, ma.
Okay, Abigail Tosin is asking, is it possible for a baby that is convulsed to, is it possible for a baby that wants to convulse to stretch and not roll their eyes? Yes, of course. It is not, so the child doesn't necessarily have to roll their eyes. So the fact that the child is stretching and not rolling their eyes is still convulsion. So that, like I said, there are many types of, in fact, we like to use the word seizures. So seizures is more all-encompassing, because convulsion has to do with stretching or jerking and all that. But whereas seizures could be just like the child just staring blankly, and you'll be talking to the child is just staring at you and no response, the child is gone. Then the next thing, they will just kind of snap out of it. So that is still a form of a seizure, even though it's not like the child is making any check or the child is doing any of those kind of things. So there's no, like, the child has to roll the eyes, the child has to do this, or it can manifest in different ways. In fact, some people who have seizures just by having abdominal pain, they will have pain. Some people have what we call complex epilepsy, in which they will behave abnormally. Some of them will just start running around. They have abnormal behavior or things like that. So there are many ways seizures or this abnormal discharge in the brain can manifest. So you really need to you don't need to say because this one is not there, then it's not a seizure, or because this one is there, it is not. No, it doesn't work that way. The most important thing is that if you see anything that a child is doing and the child is not aware, and the child does it like it has a very clear-cut beginning and a very clear-cut ending, and then it happens again, that is most likely a seizure. And what I normally tell parents to do, I think we just start going into the treatment, is to the best way, because most time we doctors will never see the child having that convulsion or the seizure. So we need, for us to make a diagnosis, we need what we call eyewitness accounts. And luckily these days, all of us have camera phones, so it is make our life so easy. So what you need to do is to record that episode, whether you think it's a seizure or not. That's what when people ask me, is it seizure, is it convulsion, they are not sure. Record it on your smartphone. Record it and take note of how often the child is having it, and then go see your pediatrician and show it to them. Because once a doctor watches the recording, we can quickly decide, because there are also some other abnormal movements that children can do that may not necessarily be convulsions or seizures. So sometimes it's difficult for parents to know which one is which, but we have a way of knowing which one is which. So, but if you're not sure, the best thing to do is to do a video recording of that episode, and then please go and show it to your doctor, and then your doctor will look at it, and then they'll be able to tell you, oh, it's a seizure or it's not a seizure. So that is what you really need to do. And when we see it, we usually do some basic tests. Usually one of the tests we do is to do an EEG. EEG is like, we want to see the electrical activity of the brain itself. So the same way you do ECG for the heart, The EEG is the brain. So you see them putting some electrodes or pins on the child's head and they record it. And we will see those, we may see those abnormal discharges in the EEG recording. But sometimes the EEG may be normal because at the time you are doing EEG, the child may not be having the seizures. So the child has a normal EEG, normal recording of the EEG does not mean the child does not have epilepsy. So it is just to support what we see. So that video recording or us observing the child actually having that episode is more important than your recording. So than the EEG. So the EEG could be normal and the child could still have seizures, but sometimes the EEG is abnormal and all that. Sometimes if we think there may be we will ask you a lot of questions, just even by asking you so many questions about how the child was born, how the child's development has been, and so many other questions. We can figure out why the child is having the seizures. But sometimes, even with all those questions, what we call history and examining the child, we can't still figure out why the child is having a convulsion. So for that, we need now to do what we call more tests to know the cause. So we do the EEG, and sometimes we do a brain scan. We do what we call a brain MRI or brain CT scan. Sometimes we'll see an abnormal brain. So we know that there's this abnormality in the brain, and that is what is causing these seizures or convulsion or epilepsy. Or sometimes the brain is still normal as well, and we don't know. So I've seen a child who, we don't know what is causing the seizure, and then I just say, okay, let's just do a brain scan, and lo and behold, the child has a tumor. He has a what they call it, a tumor in the brain, a brain tumor, or a brain cancer, or whatever. So that is what is causing the seizure. So that is why sometimes when your doctor tells you need to do a brain scan, don't be saying, I don't have money. And sometimes we will never have known that child actually is having that seizures because of the brain tumor. So it was because we're able to do that brain scan. So sometimes we have to do brain scan. Brain tumor is another reason why children go have seizures. Any problem in the brain can cause convulsion, can cause seizures. So that's what we do. And after we found out, if it is something we can treat, but we will treat the convulsion itself, because it's very important, like I said, that we stop the convulsion itself.
Thank you, Ma. Regina Godwin is asking, can convulsion lead to death?
Okay, yes, it can. So convulsion on its own should not cause death. But convulsion, if it is prolonged, remember what I said, when this convulsion is too long, the child can die from it. So the essence of a doctor is that you don't want a convulsion going on for too long. Because when it's going on for too long, the brain is using up all its oxygen reserve. The child is not able to take in enough oxygen, and the brain can be permanently irreversibly damaged, and that can also lead to death. So usually we don't want it to get to that stage, but it's possible for people to die from prolonged convulsion. Okay, let's move on.
Abigail Lamide asking, what is the way out of convulsion?
Yeah. So convulsion, like I said, I've told you what we normally need to do, but we can be treated. So we take history, we examine the child, we do our basic tests. But what we now need to do is to treat the convulsion, and we have many drugs. And I'm really going to spend a little bit more time in this area, because this is where the problem lies. Because parents do a lot of what I call shopping around. So they come to see Dr. A today, and Dr. A has given them medication. They use it for only 1 week, and the child is still having convulsion. They will stop using the drugs. They go to Dr. B, or they now say, maybe the doctors are not working. Let's go to the hospital. Let's go to the church, or let's go to the mosques, or let's go to the Babalawo. That kind of a thing. Because people always have these myths around convulsion, epilepsy. I get that. Now, let's start by saying that there are drugs for convulsion, and we have so many of them. We have over 20 different drugs So in fact, more than that we can use to treat convulsion. Now, the way the doctors always work is that depending on the type of convulsion your child is having, we will use the drug that is most likely to work for that child. That is what we will use first. Now, normally when we start using those drugs, we normally start it with the smallest dose of that drug. So we'll start with a small dose because all drugs have side effects. I hope we remember that. So we're not going to start the child and on the higher. So we start small because we want to give the drug that will control the convulsion at the same time that will not give too much of side effects. So we start with a small dose and then we will increase it gradually. That is what we normally do. We will increase it gradually. So and so at that time that we're increasing the drugs, the child may still be having convulsion. So please be patient. Please be patient. Don't say, oh, that means the drug is not working. We need to take that drug through that process of increasing it gradually and getting to the maximum of it. When we get to the maximum of it and the child is still not, the conversion is still there, then that means the child, that drug is not working for that child. Then we'll try a new drug. Remember, we have over 20 different drugs to try. We'll try a new drug. And please, well, the conversion drugs, they are drugs that have to be taken every day. They have to be taken every single day. They have to be taken at exactly the same time every day. So if your doctor tells you, use this drug 8 a.m. in the morning and 8 p.m. at night, please don't use it at 10 o'clock in the morning and use it at 7 p.m. at night. It's very important. They must be exactly 12 hours apart. They must be exactly 8 hours apart. It is so important. These are the reason why these drugs don't work. Because sometimes parents don't follow the instructions to the letters. So number one, your doctor, you need to be patient. I can't stress that enough because I think from my own experience with my patients, most people are not patient. So number one, you have got to be patient. Two, when your doctor is still increasing your medication, you have to be going back for follow-up. It is one of those conditions that we don't just give you a drug and that is the end and you go away forever. No. You have to be coming back. So sometimes we give you follow-up appointment. Some parents will say, oh, the child is not having convulsion again. I don't have to go back. And some parents will say, the child is not having convulsion again. I'm just going to stop the drugs. And then they just stop it. And then the child is having convulsions more severe than before. So these are very important take-home messages I really want to stress. Number one, when we start the medication, we normally start it slow. And as much as possible, we want to use one drug. We want to use one drug that can stop the convulsion. So we will want to make sure we try that drug to the end, to the maximum. If at the end of trying that drug to the maximum, which may take over a few months, and the child is still having seizures, then we can try a new drug, another one single drug, different one, and we gradually work it again. Sometimes we are lucky and it's fine. But sometimes we are not lucky. I always say, parents, sometimes we don't know which child will respond to which. That's just the funny thing about managing seizures. So the fact that your neighbor, even let's say the brother of that child is able to take that particular one and it's working, does not mean when we give it to the sister, it will work for the sister. That's just how the human bodies are. So we will try a different drug if the first one didn't work. Sometimes some people's convulsions are so bad. Let me just say 90% of people will just be fine with one drug and they'll be fine. Sometimes some people's convulsions are so bad, we need to use 2 drugs together. Sometimes we need to use 3 drugs together. So, but majority will not need that. Now, it is important that when you are taking these drugs, you take them regularly. You take them at the right dose. You don't stop them. Please don't stop your drugs for conversion. That is one of the greatest errors parents make because they think the child, some people come to me in 1 week or 2 weeks of starting medication, the child is not having seizures again. Hallelujah. Then they stop the medication and then the thing gets back, and it's worse. Usually, drugs for seizures, drugs for epilepsy, the child will have to take them nothing less than 2 years. It is not malaria medication. It is not ampiclos. These are drugs that the children will be taking for 2 good years. whether the child is having the convulsion or not. And that is what I normally say to my parents when I'm starting. Are you ready? Because once I start this medication, the child is going to take this medication for the next 2 years minimum, underline minimum. Whether the child is not having convulsion or whether the child is still having convulsion, the child will have to be on that medication. We leave it on after 2 years of the child not having convulsions again. That is when we begin to tail it off. We don't ever suddenly stop those medications. That is another thing parents do. Please, whenever a child has epilepsy and the child is on anticonvulsant medication, that child needs to be with a pediatric neurologist or a pediatrician who is following up with that medication. And you might be seeing that doctor every 3 to 6 months because we need to adjust the medication. Sometimes when the children gets bigger, they need bigger doses. So sometimes we start the child on, let's say we start with some drug like carbamazepine, Tegretol, or drug like Epilim, sodium valproate. We start it at maybe 100 milligram when the child was maybe 10 kilo, 1 year old. Now the child is 5 years old, is weighing 20 kilos. The child is not going to, of course, the dose the child is taking as 1 year will not be the same dose as 5 years. So we really need to adjust those medications. We adjust them according to the weight of the child. We adjust them according to the response of the child. And so you really need to make sure you go to the hospital. And if your child is not having convulsion, please don't stop their medication until your doctor tells you to do so. And when you are going to stop, you have to do it the way the doctors say you should do it. So we don't stop those medications suddenly. We never, ever stop them suddenly. We must stop them gradually. Gradually means, so if the child is taking, let's say, 200 milligram in the morning and 200 milligram in the evening, for example, we can say, okay, make the morning 100, still leave the night at 200. We can do that for 1 month. Then we can say, okay, make it 100 again in the morning, 100 again in the night, maybe for another 1 month. Then we can say, okay, reduce the one for 50, 100 in the morning to 50, still leave it like that. We will be doing like that until like over 6 months, and then we will now stop it. So, because the body is already used to those medications, if they suddenly drop, if the level in the blood suddenly drop, by you stopping it suddenly, the child will have what we call a rebound convulsion. And then we're going back to square one. We have to start all over again, wait for another 2 years before we begin to tell it. So it's a little bit complex. So it is very important that if you think a child is having serious epilepsy, please take the child to the hospital. Make sure the child is seeing a pediatric neurologist or at least a pediatrician minimum, and then you can now they can now recommend the medication and they can now treat the child appropriately. Okay, sorry, I've left out this.
Thank you, ma.
Yeah. Can you see Temitope's question?
Temitope, yes, ma. Temitope is asking what home remedy can be used for who have convulsion before hospital.
Thank you so much, Gbemisola. That's a very, very beautiful question. And it takes me to another thing I really think I must address this morning. Now, for a child who is having convulsion, there is no home remedy. Underline it. There is no home remedy. Don't put spoon in their mouth. Don't put onions in their eyes. Don't pour spirits on them. What else do people do? Sorry, I've got, just bear with me. Don't put anything like that for them. And it's very important because sometimes the problem we deal with, Molara, is not the convulsion when the children go to the hospital. It is the problem that have been caused by these home remedy givers. I manage a child in Louth who had severe burns of the hands and of the legs. Because what? The child was having...
one.
You see? Because the child was having convulsion, some wicked souls, that's what I'm going to call them, Put this child's hands in and legs. I know they said it meant well, but that's what they did. You know that the convulsion was not even our problem when the child came to low, because the convulsion has stopped and the child didn't even have convulsions anymore. We were now dealing with bones for months. That child was in low for months for something that would not have happened. When a child is convulsing, what you need to do is to leave that child alone. The most important thing is that the child does not injure himself. That is the most important thing. Don't allow the child to injure himself. So if the child is wearing tight clothes, remove it. Remove ties, remove chains, remove bangles, anything that can injure the child. Make sure when the child wants to fall, they don't land on a hard floor. Just guide them, put them on the side, what the nurses call recovery position. Just put them on the side so that if they are foaming, the foam will be coming out. It won't go back. Don't give them anything. And I meant it, don't put anything in their mouth, because anything you put in their mouth, they're going to aspirate it. The child is not aware what is going on. What you need to do is to take the child to the hospital as soon as you can. What I normally tell parents to do is wait. Most convulsion will stop in 30 seconds. Most of them will stop in 1 minute.
Yes.
It is very unusual for a convulsion to go on for 5 minutes. When a convulsion is going on, it's not stopping in 5 minutes, please call the ambulance. Even if you are in Lagos, we now have ambulance services. If you don't have ambulance services where you are, just go to you don't have to go to your own hospital at that time. It is very unusual for you not to have an hospital within, whether private, government, health center, whatever. It is very unfortunate that you won't have one within like 5-10 minutes walk, not even driving, 5-10 minutes walk. All you need to do is to take the child to such a place, and all that we need to do is to give an injection to stop the convulsions. That's it. There is no home remedy for convulsion. The most important thing is to make sure that the child does not injure him or herself. That is the most important thing. Once you are able to do that, then the child can be taken to where they will get treatment. So please, all these things we do in Nigeria, I know. We see them, all those spoons, don't let them clench their teeth. There's nothing that will happen to the child if they clench their teeth together. Nothing is going to happen. It's not going to do anything to the child. Most of the children's dentition, I'm sure Dr. Buki can tell us, they destroy it in the process of putting omorogun, spoon, all sort of stick, all sort of rubbish in the child's mouth because they don't want the child to clench the teeth. I don't know where we get it from that if the child clenches it, that means the child has died or what. I don't get it. Please, 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 if a child is having convulsion, just let the child be. Make sure the child is in a space where they cannot fall on a table or a glass or injure themselves. That's the most important thing. Take away clothes, anything that can injure them. And like if the child has something around the neck now, you can and leave the child. 1 minute is convulsion has stopped. It's very unusual when it go on for 5 minutes. And that is when you take them to. For those kind of children that have convulsion often, most time we give the parent what we call rectal diazepam. They can just put it in the bum, in the anus of the children, and that can help them before they get to the hospital. But most people don't have that because most time convulsion is not something you've planned for. It's something that just happens suddenly. So apart from those who already they have been having convulsion for a while, the parents know. So for those, if it just happens, just leave the children alone. Make sure they don't injure themselves. Then make sure you take them to the hospital. Whether the convulsion stop and it doesn't happen again, or the convulsion happen, you must still go to the hospital. That's another thing. That's another thing I need to stress. Because parents will tell us, this child convulsed last week. They didn't come to hospital. Then 2 weeks ago, the child convulsed. That's because after the first episode, the thing stopped. You need to know why. If no child convulsed, no child who convulsed is, has no reason. You understand? I don't know how I'm putting it appropriately across. What I'm trying to say is that for every child that convulsed, something is wrong. Let me put it in an easier way for people to understand. For every child that convulsed, something is wrong. And we must find out what is wrong. And we must deal with it. And that is the most important thing to do. And even if we don't find anything, we must deal with the convulsion so that it doesn't happen again. Usually if the convulsion happens for the first time, we watch. We do all our tests, see whether we can find out what is wrong. If we find out nothing, we watch. If it happens the second time, we start medications. Whether we know what is causing it or we don't know what is causing it, we will start medications for convulsion. So please, Temitope, I'm very happy you asked that question. All those home remedies, they are dangerous. They actually create more problem for us than the convulsion itself. So please, please, please don't do them. If you are one of the experienced mothers who is sitting on this table, you are the one that always bring, please repent today. Please, please, please stop them. They don't help. They actually create more problems for us. I hope that is helpful. Okay, let's move on. Our time is going now. Abimbola, are you there with me? Okay. So Onome is asking, please, ma, what's of a child having seizure without convulsion? It's the same thing. I'm sure you joined us late. Please, at the end of the live, you can watch it again and you will see where I addressed that thoroughly. So there are different kind of seizures. So it's not only convulsion. Convulsion is just one of them. And so the same treatment still applies. The same treatment still apply whether it is with convulsion or with just seizures and all that. Okay, so I think my time is running. I will need to go ahead and answer all the questions. Okay, what I'm going to do, some of the questions are like duplicates, and I will just, if your question is a duplicate that I've answered before, I will just skip through it. But just for you to know, you can watch back the recording later on and get the answer. So Precious Salem is asking, what could be the after effects of convulsions later in life for the victim? There's no after effect if the convulsion is not due to brain damage, or if the convulsion is not due to brain damage. Most children will stop having convulsions. Most children who have febrile convulsion stops and they are fine. Some children will go on to develop epilepsy, but it can be managed as well. So there's no after effect. Thank you so much. Okay, Felicia is saying thank you for the compliments. You're doing a great job. Thank you. Ebere is giving me some thumbs up. Thank you. Obiano, cold does not cause convulsion. No, cold does not. So cold makes a child to shiver. The child is shivering. The child has control over it. If you wrap the child around, the child will be able to stop. So cold is not. What I've told you, the way to differentiate shivering from seizure is that the child who is having convulsion, you cannot stop it. No matter what you do, you can't stop it. It will go on. But if a child is shivering, for example, if you wrap them and you hold them, and the child will tell you, I'm shivering, but a child who is convulsing cannot communicate. The child is not aware of what is going on. Okay, so I'm just running through the question because we have just less than 10 minutes ago. If one is not there when the child is having epilepsy and such thing occur, it is very unusual for a child to have convulsion and there's no human being anywhere there. I mean, very, very unusual. I mean, it's either the child is in school or the child is at home. Children must always be with an adult at every time. So I'm hoping those people that will be there, I hope they are watching and they are learning what to do. All right. So, Nkoli, you are just coming here. That's what I because of I've worked with it severally. So, what I would advise you is to watch this rebroadcast again at the end of I'll put a rebroadcast on ATP group. You can watch it again, so you will get the answers to that, so that we can answer those who have not answered the question. Yeah, does palm kernel for conversion? No, please. That's another thing. I forgot that one. Please, palm kernel oil doesn't treat convulsion, doesn't do anything, just make the baby smell. Please, please, please don't use it. Our mother asked me that a lot. And a lot of mothers have so much belief in this, and they will not come to the hospital to see us for treatment because they think, oh, I'm using palm kernel oil. Please don't even give them to drink. Don't do that. If you're even rubbing, I don't even mind if you're rubbing, but please don't put in the mouth. That is where we correct, because that is even more dangerous. It doesn't work. Please bring the child to the hospital. Excuse me.
Abigail Lamidi Aderemi. She said, what's the way out of confusion? You've already treated that.
Yeah. Okay. Just a minute there. Okay. Okay, I've to undo palm kernel. Okay, I've handled that. Sorry. Uh, Interesting topic. Thank you. Thank you for watching, Stella. I think I've answered some of this question. They are like recurrent. I've answered this one. Yes. Okay, I've answered some of them. Okay, I think what happened that some people joined us late and they were asking the
Yes.
same question that I've answered several times before. Abigail Ologona already answered your question that convulsion is the symptom. It is not, there's no symptom of convulsion. I don't know whether you get what I'm saying. It's just like asking me what's the symptom of fever. Fever itself is the problem, is the symptom. There's no like what is the symptom of fever. So you will see a child convulsing. So the question is, what is causing the convulsion, not what are the symptoms. So a child who is convulsing is shaking, is stretching, they may have rolling of the eyes, they may foam from the mouth, they may fall, and they are not aware, and you can't stop it. So I don't know whether that helps you. Maybe that's what you're asking for, but that's I just want to be sure. Okay, Charles, thank you so much for your compliments. Shamakinde, I've answered this question several times. Everybody is asking me the causes of conversion, and I've answered it at the beginning. Okay, what I will do, let me answer a question that I've not answered before, and then if I still have time, I'll come back and answer those of you asking me what I've done. But if I can't, what I would encourage you to do is to watch it again and answer. Okay, Fenywa, please, when you're asking questions, keep your questions short. When it's too long, we can't even see ourselves on the screen. Okay, when a child has convulsion while on medication, yes, the child should continue the medication, and of course, you need to take the child back to the hospital. I already answered that already. And then my child has convulsion. I have been asked a lot of questions. I just did EEG for her on Thursday, waiting for the result. From what I saw and I've read, the readings were normal. Is there something I have to do to stop the convulsion, even though they are not epileptic? The doctor said she will agree, but it's a scary thing. Okay, so if you didn't tell me whether your child was having fever or with the convulsion or not, but I'm assuming that if your child was having convulsion 5 times and your child was asked to do an EEG, it means it was without fever, and if it's without fever, then it is epileptic. So I already mentioned that, maybe you joined us late. EEG does not rule out or rule in epilepsy or seizure disorder. A child who is having seizure 5 times without fever, even the EEG is normal, your child should be on medication. Your child should be on medication. So I don't know which pediatrician you saw, but you really need to go back. If the child is having those seizures without fever, mark it. So without fever, the child should be on, because for them to do EEG, I'm assuming it's without fever, and then that means the child should be on medication. And you don't have to wait for your EEG reports for the child to be on treatment. I mentioned earlier, all the child has seizures more than 2 times, convulsion more than 2 times without fever, that is a seizure disorder. That child should be on medication. That is it. So the child is not going to outgrow it like that. I know sometimes some doctor, but 5 times I will start that child on medication, and the medication has to be monitored. For what you are saying, seems like your child has not been started on medication. I think you need to go back to your hospital. If you are not seeing a pediatrician, please go see a pediatrician or a pediatric neurologist preferably. So that's what I would advise for you if you are still watching. I see, my son convulsed sometimes and was admitted before this and it's fine now. There's no follow-up. Most likely your child, I don't know whether your child has febrile convulsion. You didn't tell me that. So if it's a child who convulsed once from fever or even without fever, we're not going to do anything. We just leave the child. If it happens again, then we will now decide. If it happens again with fever, we may not even worry. But if it is without fever, then that is when we will worry. Okay. All right. I think my time is running up. Okay. Convulsion. Okay, I've answered that before. I was asking causes of convulsion. Please. you may need to watch the video from the beginning because I've done that already, but I'll see whether I can recap if we still have time. Vivian, my son is 4, he can't talk. You need to see a developmental pediatrician and a speech therapist. So we need to know why the child is not talking and what can we do. Is it autism? Is it just speech delay? What is going on? So though that's not what we're talking about today, we're talking about epilepsy, but please see a pediatrician and or with a speech therapist. I actually would recommend you see both of them. Okomai, thank you. Say good work. Yeah. Okomai, I've answered your question. Yes, prolonged convulsion can cause brain damage. Prolonged convulsion can cause brain damage. Ifeyiwa, I'm not sure what was your question. Okay, Ifeyiwa, is it Ifeyiwa that asks about 5?
One question, yes, ma'am.
Because it's very difficult for us to scroll back. It's difficult to scroll back to look at questions. So when you're updating, please write it all over again and put the update. If it is fever with convulsion, then your child doesn't need a EEG. It is febrile convulsion, and your child will outgrow it, and your child doesn't need any medication. So that's fine. So that's okay. Yeah, you don't need to worry. So, but there's what we do for febrile convulsion, like in your own case that is happening like 5 times. What you need to do, number one, you don't want your child to have fever that is too high. So all the child is having fever, you are aggressive about the fever. You are aggressive in bringing down the fever. So once you start noticing the child is having fever, you give a bath, you give paracetamol, you give, what else do you guys give? You can give ibuprofen, and you must take the child to the hospital immediately so that the underlying cause of the fever is treated quickly. So those are the things that you really need to do. Once you do that, then your child will not likely have high fever to convulse. Some children will, no matter what we do, that is the honest truth. So no matter how aggressive you are with bringing down the fever, some children will still have convulsion with fever. So for such children, we normally give them what we call prophylactic medication for febrile convulsion. So in other words, once the child starts having fever, before they convulse, we give them Valium. So your doctor will prescribe that for you. So they may prescribe it as tablets, or they may prescribe it as a rectal diazepam. So for people that have serious febrile convulsion all the time, we give them that. So you need to see your pediatrician or pediatric neurologist. They can arrange that for you. So that is what you need to do for now. If you I hope that is happy. Okay. Yeah, she has fever before. Okay, so it's febrile convulsions your child is having, and that is what we call recurrent febrile convulsion. So you need to see your doctor, your pediatrician preferably. I don't know why they are doing the EEG, not necessarily, unless there are some episodes without fever. If there are no episode without fever, really it's not necessary. But to treat it, you can see your doctor. They may need to give you diazepam to use every time the child is having fever. You use it for 2-3 days so that the fever doesn't progress to convulsion anymore. All right, time is going. Okay, crying without control causes convulsion. No. Okay, yes, I need to address that. I know what you are saying. So there's what we call breath holding attacks. Breath holding attacks. Some children, when they are angry and they cry, they actually hold their breath. They don't breathe. And when they don't breathe, they will now fall. So they will fall as if they're having convulsion. For some of them, may even check a little, but it is very classical. We call it breath holding attack. So it is not a convulsion. It is breath holding attack. We know it's always like the child is crying, the child is angry, the child is upset, the child withholds their breath for like a few minutes, and they will drop, and you'll be like as if they are convulsing. So that is breath holding attack. So it is not convulsion. So for parents, sometimes it's so scary. They are not sure whether it's a convulsion or it's they don't know what it is. But the story is always so classical. The story is always so classical of a child who is crying for a long time and suddenly start twitching. So we know it's a breath holding attack, and it's something that most children will grow. Usually it's commoner in that age, 2 to 3, thereabout. Yeah. All right. Okay, I think I've answered this question. All right, we are now.
Olushi.
Okay. Mm. Okay. Faye is telling us, yeah. So this MRI is abnormal. So that is explain why the child is having a convulsion. Yes. I cannot, it's so hard for me to explain to you what's your MRI is showing on a live program. I think what you need to do is to take it to the doctor who recommended that you do the MRI brain. But I can just tell you that that is an abnormal MRI. I don't want to go into the details because of this is something personal to you, and that's not right that we're talking about it in front of thousands of people. I would have loved that you don't even disclose such confidential information on a public platform like this. But I can just tell you in short that it's an abnormal MRI, and your child needs to see um, your doctor, pediatrician, pediatric neurologist, because it shows that the brain was not properly formed when the baby right from the womb. That's the summary of all the grammar that you have written there. So, and that may, if your child is having seizures, that may explain why the child is having seizures. But please follow up uh with your pediatrician or pediatric neurologist. Okay, I think I finished answering all the questions.
Yes, there's no more questions there.
Thank you so much for all watching. Just to say once again, for those who are asking me a lot about why, there are two kind of convulsions. We divide them into two: those caused by fever and those not due to fever. So those caused by fever, we call them febrile convulsions. Anything that can cause fever can mean and that fever can now lead to a child having convulsion. And usually febrile convulsion happens in children between 6 months to 6 years. That is the febrile convulsion. Sometimes we are not beginning to get it down to 3 months old, but I would say just for parents, possible just a 6 months to 6 years for you to easily remember. Now, the convulsions that are now due to fever, there are loads of things that can cause them. Loads of things. And I started by talking about even from the womb. If the brain was not properly formed in the womb, it can make the child to have convulsion. If the child didn't cry at birth and there's no enough oxygen getting to the brain, what we call hypoxia to the brain, is birth asphyxia, it can also cause convulsion. If even the blood sugar, if the child is not having enough blood sugar, it can cause convulsion. If the child have abnormal formation of the brain, it can cause convulsion. If the child has infection, like meningitis, or the child have head injury, the child has fallen and maybe suffered brain bleeding to the brain, or even premature babies, their brain, they bled into the brain easily because the brain is so fragile. Or sometimes people have some genetic problem that can affect the brain, or even tumors, brain tumors, something growing in the brain abnormally. So sometimes there is even nothing wrong with the brain. The brain is fine, structurally normal, but the child still have convulsion. So there are loads of things that can go wrong in the brain that can cause the brain to develop what we call abnormal discharges. It's those abnormal discharges that is actually causing the convulsions and the epilepsy. So take home messages. One, we've talked about what can cause convulsion. We've defined convulsion. I've already said convulsion is not contagious. So please don't be afraid, or epilepsy is not contagious. Don't be afraid to to help them or drink from the cup or all those kind of things that people don't do. Number two, there's no home remedy for convulsions. So don't put onions, spirits, palm kernel oil. Don't do that. Don't burn the hands. Don't burn the legs. Please, if the child is having convulsion, the most important thing is to make sure that the child does not injure themselves. So you kind of make sure they are safe. That's the most important thing. And then you take them to the hospital as soon as you can. That's the most important thing for you to do. Any child can have convulsion. A newborn baby can have convulsion. I don't think just asking that question. Even a newborn baby can have convulsion. There's nothing like, there's no age. So, and adults can have convulsion too. But of course, I'm a pediatrician, so I'm focused on the children. So that is it for today, and I hope this has helped everyone. If you still have questions, because we have already gone 8 minutes beyond our normal closing time, I want you to go to our
All the
Facebook group.
lectures you are giving
Yes,
us.
I apologize for my voice. I apologize for all the sneezes and all that. Go to our Facebook group and post your questions there from Mondays to Saturdays. And our professionals, our moderators, they'll be there to assist you with providing answers to your questions. And please don't put your questions under the video because we will not be here again to answer them. But if you put it on our group, we'll be able to answer them for you. So thank you so much. Malara, you want to say something? Are you still with me? Okay, I'm losing your connection. Okay, finally, before we go, just to remind you that ATP, we are doing our beyond what we do online. I hope you know
Thank you
that.
so much, Dr. Gbemi.
Yeah.
We really appreciate all that you have lectured us today.
All right, thank you so much. You're just
Please,
going to tell them.
mothers, let's take home notes that doctor has given us. Remember, make sure you make the child safe.
Yeah. So as we round up, just to say, we are we are having our outreaches, and if you have been following the little banners up there, I don't know whether you can see them. I want to make them the bigger one now. Yeah. So yes, okay. So we're having our outreaches coming up in May and June, next month and June. So it's first time we're going to all these states and all the of Nigeria, and we'll appreciate your support. So we don't only do online stuff, we also do offline. So we go to reach out to children in your states, and we're coming to all the states, apart from maybe 3 states in the north that we couldn't get to go, but we're going to be in virtually all the states of the country. So thank you so much for supporting us. If you are one of our supporters, I'm going to say thank you so much. And please keep on supporting us. And to tell you that I just want to also share with you that today, for all that we've been doing on social media, ATP is going to be recognized by the, oh yes, that's what I'm looking for. So we are going to get our award today. And I just want to use this opportunity to thank Social Media for Social Goods Award Africa for shortlisting Ask Paediatricians as one of those 100 brands who are using their social media presence for good. And so thank you so much. And this award will be picked up today. It's one of our award, recent award. I mean, we are so excited that all the little things we are doing in our corner is getting noticed. I mean, in the global, so our vice president will be there to present the awards to her. So we're so excited and we are so pumped up to do more for our children. And so if you have been blessed by what ATP is doing, or you are just a lover of children and you would like to really support us, please, I will display our I'm looking for, oh no, this is the wrong one. I'm looking for our account details so that you can support us you can support us, and please, we'll appreciate it a lot. We are going to be in all the states, as many as we can. I'm sure you can see all the states. Okay, all right. So we're going to be in one of your states, and so please, you can sponsor one child for just 2,500 naira only. Yeah, so this is the one that we already told us. These are some of the things we've been doing before. Yeah, so you can sponsor one child for just 200, and that's our account details. Malara is still there with me. Please feel free to support us. We will be very, very excited. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being here this morning. And so if you also have products for us and you want us to come and pick it up, no problem at all. So just kindly let us know, and we will be happy to come and pick it up. There are phone numbers you can call, and then if you go to our group, you will see all this information. We'll be able to pick them up. So thank you so much. I think I've taken 15 minutes of your time, but we need to go right now. So thank you so much. Gbemisola, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you, ma, for having me, ma.
Yeah, thank you so much. So if you really want to support us, please go ahead and support us. Thank you so, so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye for now.